Well, what's up, guys? Rob from Brains Game here, bringing you the tier list videos that I promised. We are going to be listening to the NASB 2 official soundtrack off of Game Mill Entertainment's YouTube channel. So shout out to them for uploading the soundtrack. Pretty sick. I hope they upload it to Steam like they did last time, because I love using the soundtrack for my videos. So I actually haven't really heard any of this music before. I've been avoiding all leaks, avoiding all spoilers as much as possible. That's why I didn't cover anything not official on the channel, because I just wanted nothing to do with it. So that being said, let's just ignore all that nonsense and let's get into our tier list. So we're gonna do two tier lists here. We're gonna start with my meta how good the character is prediction tier list, and then we'll tick over to how excited I am to play as these characters, like my hype tier list. So yeah, let's go ahead and we will just go with we're just gonna run with it. So first off, we have Raphael. I've split the tiers into high, mid, low. I think doing like SAB CD for a game that's not even out yet is a little silly, at least just to me, because like I don't have like the depth of platformer knowledge or platform fighter knowledge to like really be able to stratify based on simply just seeing the characters. So I'm just gonna simply do high, mid, low. Obviously, as the meta develops and the game comes out, I'll be doing tier lists every now and then, which will be more, you know, SAB CD type stuff. So this will be ordered. We're gonna start with Raph. I think he's high tier for sure. Again, keep in mind this is all just based simply on the spotlights, so if you don't agree, feel free to let me know down in the comments. I'm definitely interested in what people have to say. Raph seemed very fast, seemed like he had a ton of combos, seemed like one of those characters that just straight up exploded you if they touched you at all. I'm actually gonna do, we'll do one tier above. And then, you know, we have our non-returners, rest in spaghetti. But we'll do a top tier, and I think Raph is definitely top tier. I mean, he seems like his combo game is ridiculous. Seems like he's one of these characters that just blows you up if they touches you once. You know, just pure raw speed and just shenanigans, really. Just seems like a lot of shenanigans to me. Definitely seems really, really strong. Combo game go crazy, speed go crazy. Yeah. Next up we have Aang. Aang, I placed Aang in mid. You know, it seems like he has some really cool combos. Seems like he has some stuff going for him. It's just also like one of those questions of maybe how does Aang get in, you know? And also his recovery, from what I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember these characters that we haven't seen in a while from their showcases. You know, I don't think his recovery got like significantly buffed in a way that makes it less scary in terms of just, you know, not having much of a protection on it. So but definitely seemed like he had some cool combos. I love his character redesign. I'm really happy with what they did with him. Definitely very happy with what they did with him in order to make him less of like just press and air over and over again. Donnie, I'm also putting in mid. I'm going to put him above Aang. He seems like he has crazy strong big disjoints, like, you know, Cloud from Smash 4 level disjoints with his sword and everything else that's going on with that. But it also seemed like his frame data was a little bit slow, and it seems like maybe some issues maybe getting in on some opponents with the lack of speed on some of his moves. But definitely seems like he can just wall you out super hard with hitboxes, especially if people get really, really good at timing those hitboxes and they're making sure they're not throwing out bad, slow options in neutral. Definitely see him as a matchup type character on some characters. Like, how do certain characters even get in against this wall of hitboxes that he might be able to throw out? Up next, if you see me looking off to the side, I have my list pulled up here. April, I'm going to put in low tier for now. It just kind of seemed like some of her better stuff from NASB 1 got neutered a little bit. Like her aerial down strong and down strong the camera 3 clicks seems like it's a little bit less good because it hits front, back, front now, 3 different directions, which seems like not super great. And it seems like they kept her mostly the same from NASB 1. Gave her some stuff like the camera being able to be used as a projectile off stage seems kind of cool, but it just doesn't seem like she's bringing a lot of sauce to the table right now. Like, the pasta is there. There's just not a ton of sauce being placed on it. Plus, her recovery, not having a hitbox on her recovery, kind of rough. Definitely doesn't help, so I'm going to put her down here. El Tigre, I originally said mid-tier in the video, but the more I think about the similarity between him and Raph, I'm going to put El Tigre in high tier. Again, seems like one of these characters that he just explodes you as soon as he touches you. Like, how do you stop his combo game? His combo game seems like it's bonkers bananas. But my biggest concern, and the reason I think maybe not up at the tippy top, is like he seems like he might be able to get walled out a little bit more. Like, how does he get in against characters that can just throw out a bunch of projectiles or throw out a lot of hitboxes? Like, you know, against like Donnie, for example, it seems like the matchup of if El Tigre touches Donnie, he just dies. But can he do it, right? If the Donnie player is good enough at making sure he's spacing his aerials and stuff properly. But other than that, I mean, again, one of these characters that seems like he touches you and you literally just explode and go to heaven. So definitely a high tier for El Tigre. Plankton, I'm going to put him in mid tier. I'm going to put him below Donnie, above Aang. Plankton looks like he's going to be a noob check, matchup check type character. If you don't know what he's bringing to the table, looks like he's going to kind of wreck you, honestly. Seems like he's gonna put a lot of people in their place if they don't know what he's doing. But that being said, he's really, really big, heavy character, so he can get comboed a lot. And against certain characters, it's just like, how do you get in with him, you know? Seems like he's bringing some sauce, and he literally does bring sauce to the table. But my question is, against certain matchups, it seems like he's just going to be really, really held back by certain things in his matchup trees. So, yeah. I really like his character, though. Really cool. Definitely a solid character, I think. Up next, somebody we got pretty early on, Squid. I'm going to put him in a high tier for now. Seems like he's got some really good disjoints, some really good hitboxes on some of his moves, like the move where he does the, I think it's his Nair. Again, I'm trying to remember from these, you know, Squidward was the 3rd character we ever saw all the way back. Seems like he has some really solid hitboxes on some of his moves. Double jump cancel with a rage meter. Definitely seems like a character that can delete stocks pretty quickly. Not a ton of weaknesses, just nothing that really stood out to me as being busted, which is why he's not in top tier. But Squid seems like a pretty solid character in my opinion. Patrick. Patrick seems like he's going to be kind of mid. They gave him some new things, some sauce. It's just, how does he get in, you know, as the grappler? Plankton has a little bit more at his disposal as a grappler to kind of get in against certain characters. Patrick seems like he's maybe lacking that a little bit, but he does seem like he hits like an absolute truck. And some of the changes they made to his kit are pretty good, that help him out in a lot of different ways. I almost put him in low tier, but I'm going to put him low end of mid for now. Yeah, it just seems like he's really going to struggle to find a way in a lot. So, you know, one of those things. Jimmy, the 2nd character we saw, I'm going to put him in mid. I'm going to put him here. Puppet Master type character. Like, how does Plankton deal with Goddard? How does Patrick deal with Goddard? How do you deal with Goddard? It seems like if you get past Goddard, you can just bully him really hard. A lot of Jimmy's self moves seem kind of not great, and his recovery seems like hot garbage. It's super slow with no hitbox, so if you get Jimmy off stage, he just dies. It's just one of those questions of, can you get Jimmy off stage? Can you get past Goddard? And if you can't, you might just die. So he's going to end up, I think, trending down maybe towards more mid of mid. But we'll leave him here for now. Ember, I'm going to put up in top tier. I liked a lot of what I saw about Ember. She has some disjoints. She has a projectile. Her hitboxes look really good. Not really much of a glaring weakness to her game. Maybe her recovery a little bit. It's a little bit strange. Sends you kind of at a little bit of a weird angle, but it seems like she's really strong. She's got really big disjoints and really good frame data. Like, the biggest difference between her and Donnie, in my opinion, is it looks like her frame data is a little bit better from what we saw, which is going to put her closer up to the top. Looks like she can wall you out. She can box you up close. A lot of mix-up options from what I remember, being able to cancel out of certain things. Yeah, Ember looks pretty good to me. Garfy, I'm going to put him in high tier. He's going to trend more towards the lower end of high tier, I think. But a lot of really good things with his kit. Having access to a shine, having a spiking dare. You know, that he already had in NASB 1, but having like the Falco style spiking dare. Obviously shine, access to pies for those projectiles. You know, the food meter is going to be huge, and having the ability to pop a meter to go much faster looks like it's going to be really, really important to his game, and a way for him to kind of get in against maybe some characters that can wall him out a little bit. Being able to have that extra speed and whatnot definitely looks like it's going to help. Biggest weakness is recovery. Didn't seem spectacular. It still seems kind of bad. Although you can jump out of it, so that helps. It definitely helps with the mix-up options, but it doesn't seem like the greatest thing, so we're going to put him in mid-tier for now, or high tier for now. Cora came out today. I'm going to put her towards the top of high tier for now. A lot of different things going on with her. Just kind of seems like she's got options, and that's like one of the biggest things to me, is having options is super important. Different things for different situations, and it looks like if she gets in and hits you, you can just die. Like, she's kind of like you know, Raph or LT grade, just maybe not as fast, but still that same kind of just explosiveness that she's bringing to the table. So I'm going to put her towards the top end of high tier for now. Lucy Loud, I'm going to put Lucy Loud in mid tier for now. She's going to be at the top of mid tier. Again, options. It looks like there's a really good reason to use all three of her forms this time around, as opposed to just using one like we really did for the most part in NASB 1. And yeah, just that's the biggest thing to me, is the fact that her stances all seem useful. It means that she's going to be able to really adapt to a lot of different situations. Biggest thing holding her back is her recovery's not spectacular. Kind of seems like, especially in her normal mode, again, you go pretty high, but you're not really covered by much. Her recovery's not great. I think that's going to be the main thing that's going to keep her out of high tier. And also that she's a little bit stubby, so it's like, how do you really get in against her, or against certain characters with her moves, because she doesn't have a ton of range. Yeah. Going to keep her in mid for now. Azula, I think that's Azula. I don't know how you say her name. Gonna put her in mid as well. I'm gonna stick her here. Seems like she's got some really nice moves going for her. Seems like she's pretty strong, so she might just delete your stock at like 50% against certain characters, like Lucy, for example, being kind of light. You might just lose a stock at 50 against her. It's just that she seems a bit more basic than some of the other characters that we're seeing at like top and high tier. Not accessing many of the you know, change up and mix up options, but definitely seems like, again, one of these characters that if she hits you, you die. Your stock goes bye-bye. Zim, as much as I hate to admit it, I'm gonna have to put Zim at high tier. His projectiles seem insane. Gur having his own set of moves as well as a hit grab. Combine that with the different projectiles he's bringing, like the peg to spike you, the you know, the gnome at ledge for a ledge trap. He's just, it seems like if you get off stage against Zim, you, like, how do you recover against that? When he's just like, oh, gnome at ledge, a spiking pig above you here, and then I'm gonna cover the drift out with some kind of spike. You might just die. Biggest thing holding him back, recovery without Gur is hot dog shit. And I imagine that Gur is going to be out most of the time as opposed to being saved for a recovery. So that's the biggest thing holding him back from being more towards the higher end of high tier, is that if you don't have Gur, your recovery is trash. A Reptar. I'm going to put Reptar in low tier for now. Mostly just because big body, and it seems like a lot of these characters have really good combo games. And that the equalizing factor, right, his broken down B that he had in NASB 1 is not a thing anymore. It exists in the game, but it's not like an equalizer like it was in NASB 1, where like, oh, I'm getting beaten up and I just die. But the fact of the matter is that if I just aerial armor out of your combo and then you miss one tech against my down special, you're taking 60%, which is already going to be in kill range on a lot of characters, just because of how strong he is. Not really a thing in this game. I'm a little worried about him losing the armor in the air to get out of juggles, and by a little worried, I mean a lot worried. I don't really know how he's going to get out of disadvantage this time around. Yeah, it kind of scares me a little bit. I'm not going to lie. So we're going to put Reptar at low tier for now. Not bad. I don't think any of these characters we've seen have been bad. Just compared to, like, this is like a 90-10 matchup for Raphael. Gerald. I'm going to put Gerald in top tier. I'm actually going to put him second for now, just because three things: options, options, and more options. His projectiles are insane. Just so many different projectiles for so many different situations. He can wall you out with all these projectiles, and it looks like if you do get in, he's perfectly fine with... Oh, it's a Jellyfish Fields remix. He looks like, it sounds like he's perfectly fine with just boxing you if you get in past his wall projectiles, and it's just, yeah, I mean, just so many different things this character can throw at you. I'm really liking what I'm seeing from Gerald's game. SpongeBob, I'm going to put in high tier. I'm going to put him in low high tier just because seems like a more of a basic character, but it seems like he doesn't really have any major weaknesses. Like, everything he's doing is pretty much going to be good in one way, shape, or form. I'm going to put him in high tier, actually, not top tier. Everything he's doing is just good. Like, everything he can do is pretty well set, you know, to be able to either lead into a combo, lead into a co-confirm. Again, you know, more of a basic character, but he still has, you know, his projectile, the bubble, which looks like it's going to be pretty useful for him to get in against certain characters that may be able to wall him out. And, you know, speed, good combo game, good spikes, no major weaknesses. Doesn't really seem like he's busted, but she seems like a solid character. Mr. Danny Phantom, I'm going to put in high tier. I'm going to put him here. Movement options seem insane, and by insane, I mean, like, insane. Yeah, like, jeez. If your character doesn't have fast moves, this is a terrible matchup. Like, this is partially why Garfield Danny was such a garbage matchup in NASB 1, because Danny could just schmove around a lot of your hitboxes. And that seems like it's going to be the case here again. If your character doesn't have good, active, fast hitboxes, Danny's going to be impossible to hit. Major weaknesses, again, like his recovery seems kind of just okay, and he's super light, but I don't think those are like major glaring weaknesses. I think Danny's going to be totally fine. Jenny, I'm going to put in high mid tier. Pretty well the same to NASB 1. She's bringing a lot of the same stuff, but the new stuff she is bringing is super cool. And, you know, her kit is just solid all around. I mean, there's no major real weaknesses other than that. Like, her recovery doesn't have a hitbox on it. But, you know, doesn't really seem like there's any glaring weaknesses. Like, she's a little bit heavy, which I think is going to hold her back a little bit. You know, I think that's the big thing, is that she's a little bit heavy. So like, as opposed to like somebody like SpongeBob, she might be a little bit more combo food than him. But just one of these characters that, like, there's nothing really terrible about her. She's just solid. Rocco, I'm going to put in mid-tier. I'm going to put him down a little bit. Again, pretty similar to his Nasby 1 counterpart, and for good reason. His kit works. If your kit works, don't change it. Jackhammer seems like it's going to be absolutely annoying to deal with against some of these characters. I'm going to put Plankton up a little bit, actually, now that I think about it. Yeah, like, you know, what is there really to say other than, like, his kit works? And again, another one of these characters, like, there's not much to say because he's just kind of good. Like, you know, doesn't really seem like there's anything to really, you know, disparage him for. Just seems like compared to some of these upper tier characters, he's not bringing as much sauce to the table. Grandma Gertie, she is in top tier. Having the knee and, you know, some of the other options that she has access to for a character like her is just massive. And, you know, the typical weaknesses that you would see with a character like her, you know, maybe questionable neutral, or how do you get in against certain walls and stuff, doesn't really seem like she's going to have much of an issue with that, quite frankly. No major weaknesses to her game, and it seems like if she touches you, you explode and die. I know I've said that for a lot of these characters, but with her, yeah, it's just like, that's what it seems like. Nigel, I'm also going to put in top tier. A lot of the things that were kind of bad about him in Nasby 1 have been adjusted to make him a little bit less weak in some of those areas, specifically his recovery. Having more access to better recovery options makes a world of difference for a character who was already good. And now he's just going to be better because one of his major glaring weaknesses isn't a thing. Looks like his combo game goes hard. Looks like he hits pretty hard. He actually has a working jab. And the recovery being better is humongous, because that was his major weakness. And that being kind of fixed. If everything else stays the same, which it looks like it should, he's going to be really good. Ren and Stimpy, I'm going to put in low tier. Apparently, I'm very wrong about this. According to the testers, this is a very bad placement for them. They just absolutely nuke you. I'm just worried about big body. Kind of seems like neutral might be a bit of an issue for them against certain characters. How do they get in? Kind of a deal. But apparently their hitboxes are way better than what they look like on screen for the showcase. So this is probably the worst take ever, but I'm going to run with it. Yeah. And Angry Beavers, I'm going to put in mid. I'm going to put them here. They're bringing a lot to the table. The switch mechanic seems like it's going to go hard. I'm actually going to swap some characters around here. The switch mechanic for these two seems like it's going to go absolutely crazy, dummy hard. Because, Jesus Christ, like, being able to swap and, you know, continue combos and swap back to stage, possibly and potentially, is just insane. It's nuts. It lets you take more risks, do more things that you might not otherwise be comfortable doing. And also having two different characters that can kind of customize what you need. Are you looking for combos, or are you looking for power? Are you looking for range? Seems like it's going to be really, really good for them. The biggest thing I saw was, again, they're a little bit stubby. So it's like they might struggle a bit in neutral. And their recoveries didn't seem spectacular. So that could be kind of a glaring weakness for this character going forward. So, yeah, most of the characters in mid, decent amount in high. I actually kind of like this dispersion. Like, 5 top tier characters, some high tier, a lot of characters towards the middle, and there's only really 3 characters that I wasn't super impressed with what they're bringing to the table. But I don't think any of these characters are bad necessarily. even April, who I'm like the least impressed with so far, doesn't seem bad. Just seems, compared to some of these other characters, maybe not as much spaghetti sauce, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, let me know how terrible this take is. Let me know how stupid I am down in the comments below. Let me know how much you hate my guts for saying your favorite character is bad. And when the game comes out and a month later this tier list looks as awful as it probably is going to be, and I look as dumb as I probably am going to look, feel free to come back and tell me that I was dumb and I didn't know anything. But we're going to swap over to a different kind of tier list. We're going to swap over to my hype tier list, how excited I am to try each character, or am I going to try each character? Yeah, how hype I am for each character being in a game. So give me one sec, guys. I'm going to swap over to that tier list now. Alright, we are back with the tier of the listing. I have made some new tiers. We'll just get this one right off the bat. This is just a tier list of how likely I am to play these characters, or how excited I am to try these different characters. I'm sticking Garf as the main. I like what I saw in the character spotlight. You know, played him all throughout NASB 1's life cycle. Love this guy. Looks like going to be a lot of fun. Pretty much going to be locked in right away. I'm sticking with the Garf. And secondary, we're going to stick with the Reptar as a secondary. Even if he's garbage, even if he's literally bottom 1, I just love Reptar. He was so much fun in NASB 1, and just playing as like a freaking cereal mascot dinosaur, like, how can you beat that? So those are the only two characters that I have locked. I'm definitely playing these two for sure in some capacity. 99.9% gonna main Garfield just because it's a lasagna cat. Why not? But so these are really categories we're gonna be filling in. Strong contention for secondaries. Characters that I'm leaning towards potentially adding into my competition rotation. Look fun, will try. This is a character that maybe I'll pick up as a pocket, for fun character when playing with friends or playing friendlies, whatever. Characters that I'm pretty interested in. May try at some point. Characters I'm kind of on the fence about. Not sure if I really want to try them or not. Most likely no. Characters that I'm not completely ruling out, but more than likely won't really be trying. And characters that I literally have zero interest in playing ever. So we'll start. Nigel Thornberry, I'm gonna put in most likely no. He just doesn't really vibe with my my playstyle. Wasn't a huge fan of him in NASB 1, but I'm not ruling it out. It's just not really a fan of, like, in general, like what he's bringing to the table from a personal perspective. The characters that I typically play, as you can probably tell by Garfield, are characters that usually have a good projectile for cool setups and cool combos and stuff. That's why I'm really sad Pookie's not coming back, because I love Pookie as a projectile. But characters with good projectiles, but also characters that have the tools and ability to box and really go up close against your opponent, because I don't like zoning. I really don't. It's too boring for me. I don't like standing on the other side of the stage and just walling out. So characters that can actually want to interact with your opponent, actually want to get up in your face, and actually want to fight, but usually packing a good projectile, are characters that I typically enjoy a lot. Grandma Gertie, I'm gonna put in looks fun, will try at some point. I mean, she's just really weird and wacky, but also just looks like a lot of fun just to go freaking nuts with like her combos and end it off with a knee. These aren't gonna be ordered, by the way. These are just gonna be in any order. But yeah, I mean, she just looks like a lot of fun. So I'm probably gonna give Grandma Gertie a shot at some point. Ember is a very strong contention for secondary. I love a lot of what she's bringing to the table. She's got some really cool moves in neutral. She's got some cool combo stuff, some cancel stuff, some mix-ups. I like characters with options, and she's bringing a lot of options to the table. So I'm going to put her in strong contention for secondary. Same with Gerald, very strong contention for secondary because he's bringing so many different projectiles to the table. But also, again, one of those characters that looks like he can just blow you up if you get too close to him. So very strong contention for secondary for my man Gerald here. Raph may try at some point, maybe not. He seems like he could be fun. He's pretty fast, pretty speedy, but I don't know. Oh, powdered toast trouble. Nice. I might try him at some point. Zim, no. Nope. No. I have zero interest in playing Zim. I don't like shadow puppety, hide behind a wall type character. Just no. Squidward is in my strong contention for secondaries. I love a lot of what he's bringing to the table. He's got some double jump stuff. I love that his paintings are like Mr. Game & Watch's Hammer, the judge. Because I did play some Mr. Game & Watch in Ultimate. I never really played Ultimate competitive or anything, but like he's one of my favorite characters in Ultimate, Mr. Game & Watch. So I love having that little bit of a RNG side B. But also Squid he looks weird and wacky and fun. So he's in my strong contention for secondaries. Korra, most likely no. A little bit too basic for me. Not really. Don't really vibe with their character archetype too much. Sponge, he looks fun. I'll try him. I had a little bit of a fling with SpongeBob as far as characters go. In Nasby 1, I tried to pick him up in the beginning of the game. I just wasn't good enough, quite frankly, to hit the combos. Like my hand speed and everything just wasn't good enough. So ended up dropping him. But he looks fun, so I'll probably give Sponge a try. Danny, I have so much hate in my heart for you from Nasby 1. I'm sorry, I can't. El Tigre, same with Raph, kind of fits in that same little niche. I might try him at some point. Looks like he could be fun. Just going in sicko mode against some people. I might try him at some point. Lucy is in contention for my secondaries. Of course, a character that I did secondary. I used to main Lucy. I mained Lucy when Nasby 1 first dropped. Then they ended up putting her on secondary role for Garfield when he came out. I dropped Lucy completely for a while because she was super lame. You know, dash attack dare was just boring. And yeah, but then when she got some changes to her game that made her more going for coffin confirm type stuff, that's when I picked her back up again because it was a lot of fun. And she looks like a ton more fun in this game. Very cool stance character, so definitely a strong contention for the secondaries. Ren and Stimpy, I might try at some point. I played a little bit of Ren and Stimpy in Nasby 1, and I actually really enjoy playing against Ren and Stimpy in Nasby 1. They're one of my favorite characters to play against. So I might try them at some point, I'm not sure. Donnie, I'm going to put him in May try at some point. His kind of cloud-like abilities do seem pretty cool. I do enjoy a good sortie. I'm a young Link player. Technically, young Link is my main in Ultimate. Again, I don't really play Ultimate at all, so take that for whatever it's worth. But I do enjoy a good sortie. So yeah, we'll put. Even though it's, I know, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle lore. Or he does. He doesn't have the sword. I forget what he has. Bow staff? I think he's a bow staff. Not a sortie, but you know what I'm saying. Azla, probably not. Doesn't really bring much to the table that I'm super interested in, to be honest with you. But I'm not going to rule her out. Jenny, I'll put in May try at some point. I played a little bit of Jenny when she first dropped. Ended up not really vibing with her too much, but maybe this game will be different just from the mechanic standpoint. You know what I'm saying? So I might try her at some point. Though it wouldn't surprise me if I don't really vibe with her again in this game, because she is fairly similar to her Nasby 1 character. Norbit and Daggett definitely will try at some point. Just because they're so weird, right? The swap mechanic, something that we haven't had in Nasby before. And they do look like they could be a lot of fun with some swap mechanic shenanigans. So definitely we'll have to check them out. Plankton also looks pretty fun. Big grappler, literally shooting tartar sauce and just grappling you over and over again. Looks like he's bringing in enough to the table that he looks pretty fun. I'll give him a shot at some point. April, most likely no. I just don't think she's going to be very good, and a lot of what you know, I did secondary April for a little bit because everybody secondaried April for a little bit in Nasby 1. She just doesn't appeal to me as much because it looks like a lot of the combos that she had are pretty much gone this time around. So I'm not gonna rule it out, but probably not. Patrick, probably not. I think Plankton brings enough to the table as far as a grappler to change him up to make him interesting. Plus he's a newcomer. Patrick, never really played much Patrick in Nasby 2 or Nasby 1. Just, yeah, I'm not typically a grappler player to begin with, so most likely no for Patrick. I'm not playing Aang. I just have too much hate in the world for Aang. Just can't do it, man. Rocco, I'll probably try Rocco at some point. I did like Rocco a fair bit in Nasby 1. Honestly, had things continued with Nasby 1, he might have ended up in my character rotation at some point. And now that Jackhammered isn't just like a chaotic mess of a move, seems like he'll be even more fun. So I'll probably give Rocco a shot at some point. Like I said, he's pretty similar to his Nasby 1 counterpart, and I vibe with him pretty hard in Nasby 1. So, and last but not least, no. In fact, I'll even order this. No. No. There's too much hate in the world for me to be playing these two characters. I cannot do that to you. I can't do that to me. It would not be fun or fair to anybody involved to play these two characters. No, but I just don't enjoy shadow puppet type characters. I don't enjoy zoners. I don't enjoy people that just do nothing, or not do nothing, but just hide behind a wall of moves, or in this case, a literal wall of, you know, Gur or Goddard. It's too boring, and I just have no interest in doing that. It's not my playstyle. If it's your playstyle, more power to you. Just not something I'm interested in. So this is the list. You know, for the most part, I'm pretty open to trying most of the characters. There's only really a handful that I'm just like, you know, I'm probably not going to check out too much. But yeah, I got to figure out who my secondary is, because I want to do the same thing I did in Nasby 1, where I run a main and 2 secondaries. Maybe even do a main, 2 secondaries, and if Reptar really is as bad as he might look like, maybe do a main, 2 secondaries, and Reptar will just be like my tertiary pocket pick / for fun character, which is what he started at. He started as just a for fun character in Nasby 1, and turned into my secondary, or one of my secondaries, I should say. So yeah, this is my list. Very, very excited to try the game tomorrow when it drops. I will be checking it out pretty much all day, and of course you can expect plenty of quality content to come. I'm planning on doing a Garfield guide, planning on doing a Reptar guide, planning on doing a campaign at some point in the game, just all sorts of fun stuff. Maybe doing some more like tournament VOD footage this time around if you guys are interested in that kind of thing. Just so much content coming, and I am super duper excited. So for the last time before Nasby 2 comes out, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and all the predictions I've been doing, all my reactions and stuff. And tomorrow we brawl. So hope you guys have been enjoying. I'll see you guys again next time.